Hello, hello. I'm going to do my countdown. Hello, hello. Just thought I would pop on, talk about whatever you guys want. Just please make sure you dress your cursey words up in chat. I am going to talk a little bit more about Ella Saylor. She's missing from Muncie, Indiana. She's been gone over a year. She went missing on around February 3rd of 24. You guys have heard me talk about her before. I covered her missing right after she went missing, and I noticed that Michelle After Dark was also talking about Ella today. I appreciate her keeping Ella's name out there. It is so important that we keep these missing kids out for everybody to share it. Um, Ella, hey, gang, there's One Way Street. How are you? I have not seen you forever. Um, let me, okay, it's the missing child poster of Ella. So Ella went missing from Muncie, Indiana. Now, that's an area pretty close to me. Um, and she was 15 at the time. Indiana State Police issued a silver alert on behalf of Ella Saylor. Um, she was last seen Saturday, February 3rd, 2024 at 11 p.m. She, at that time, was wearing a gray Mackinac jacket with Washington, D.C. written on the front and back, black pajamas with puzzle pieces printed on them. She also was wearing braces. She had on braces. Hey, the mouse, how are you? I was thrilled to see Michelle After Dark covering Ella. I really was. Um, I tried to put out when she went missing and the silver alert, keeping an eye out. Um, and I was just tickled pink when I seen somebody else covering her. It is hard to keep up with all the missing children's cases for sure. It really is. And like I said, we're just having a conversation over here. You guys can discuss whatever you want. Like I said, please just dress up your cursey words. Now, the sad thing about Ella, here, I'll pull this. Let me get this one up there. The sad thing that I found about Ella was when you guys hear her story, it is such a sad, sad story. So the family has came out and issued statements. Now they did this back in July of 2024. Um, Now the thing is with me, I don't really like to use people's content all the time. So I did use Michelle's stuff to ground guide me on where I need to be with the information that she was putting out. So Ella has a story. Ella has a story. At the time she went missing, she was 15, a freshman in high school. Her favorite color is teal. She plays the violin and enjoys learning Japanese. What freaking talents is that? To play the violin and learning to talk Japanese? Wow. She loved her younger siblings, and she loved sketching landscapes like from the Harry Potter books and stuff like that. Now, she is the eldest of five siblings who were all adopted by the Saylors. Now, Ella had one biological sister who was younger than her. When Ella was put into state care, she was taken away from her parents. She was 7 years old. I believe her younger sister was only like 6 months at the time. And to describe Ella's life, it's very hard. They say she was in 18 different foster homes. 18 before the Sailors got her. Now, the thing with Ella is she had previously ran away. Okay. She had run away twice in a 6 month period. She definitely has been missing since February 3rd, 2024. And law enforcement and the family still have nothing, nothing at all. But we have to look at Ella's life too. I mean, where she came from, 18 different foster homes. Now this they put out the silver alert because she has severe anxiety. She has medical issues. They are very concerned with her. So they can't find her. So when the Sailors decided to become foster parents for the past 9 years to more than 20 children, after having trouble conceiving, going through medical testing, evaluations, after 3 years of them being married, they felt it was time to take in children who needed a lot of love and try to give them a normal life. So sad. They went through all of the procedures that they needed to go through, training, cost of volunteer, uh, you know, serving as a court appointed advocate for the children. And they really loved these children and took care of them at the best of their ability. Now, in 2013, now we're going to get into what Ella and her sister were living in when they were taken away. So on November 29, 2013 is when DCS first investigated a home in Marion, Indiana. Now, Marion and Muncie are two different places, okay? Because they had concerns of deplorable living conditions for these children. By January 1st, Ella was removed from the home. Okay. When Ella finally moved in with the Sailors, they drove her to her old home. And Ella said, "This is where I live. Oh, look, cigarettes, broken glass, a diaper. It describes my childhood life." How horrible is that? That's what you remember about your childhood. Ella said, "Don't go in there or you'll get covered in fleas." Ella was facing many struggles. She was trying to care for a newborn sister when she was only 5 years old. They didn't even have access to their basic human needs. There was no running water. There was no electricity. The neighbors actually threw an extension cord across the fence to help them out. When the neighbors moved away, Ella had no one. Ella had no one. She was 5 years old trying to take care of her baby sister without even the basic needs that had to have been so hard for her. So DCS determined the best plan for Ella and her younger sister was to remove from the parents, biological parents, and put the girls up for adoption. Now, in 2016 is when DCS contacted the Saylor family and said, please, can you take these girls? They couldn't find them a home, and they did want to keep them together. Okay. Ella was 7 at that time, and her sister was 6 months old. The Saylors eventually agreed to foster and then later to adopt the girls. The foster mother at the time delivered the girls to the Saylor family on March 2016 at a gas station at Interstate 69 and Highway 332. 2018 is when the Saylors decided to adopt them. Since that time, Ella's mother had given birth to 2 more children. The last was also placed with the Saylors this year in an attempt to keep the siblings together. So Ella's mother, losing Ella and the baby, thought it what? Okay to have a couple more kids and then ask the Saylors to adopt those children so they could all be together. That is something else right there. That is something else right there. Okay. So Ella was having a lot of trouble. Okay. So when the Saylors took in these children, the baby was always looking for Ella. They had put them in separate rooms. The baby wanted her sister. Her sister's the one who took care of her. Could you imagine? And I've seen it many times before where these families are, the children are put in a situation where they're caring for their younger siblings. So when Ella first started going to Muncie's Northside Middle School in 2019, she got in with the wrong crowd. She was disrespecting her teacher, failing classes. So the Saylors thought, let's homeschool her. Let's get her away from the wrong crowd and let's homeschool her. Now, that program started in February, and then we had the Rona hit in 2020. Now, they did tell Ella, improve your grades. Let's see if we can get you to maybe, start being around the right people. Show us improvement, and we'll let you go back to school. She was supposed to have started Muncie Central last fall. She did wanna go to high school. Ella did wanna go to high school. But the sailors say that it was the worst thing that they could have done. They didn't realize it, but since she had been homeschooled for over 2 years, Ella was excited and anxious about going back. They had a lot of one-on-one time together, and Mrs. Saylor assumed that they had, built this stronger relationship between her and Ella. Now, Ella received a cell phone from someone at some point. The parents said they kept one cell phone for all the children to use on the kitchen counter. No child had their own cell phone. Hey, Poppy. So, how did Ella receive a cell phone from someone? That doesn't make any sense, does it? So, somehow Ella pops up with a cell phone. That is never a good sign that your child has a cell phone from somebody else. I'm just saying, for sure. So the parents are like, no, our children don't have their own individual phones. We have one that they all are allowed to use. So Ella gets on social media. She started using Snapchat, uh, which was her favorite because guess what? On Snapchat, what happens? The messages disappear, right? Um, she would tap into anyone's Wi-Fi. So she at least had 2 phones. When Elizabeth, the mother, the adopted mother, discovered one of the phones, she took it away and destroyed it. Now she wishes she would have kept it. Then, after that incident, Ella gets another phone. Who are given who who is giving this child burner phones? Who would do that? So Ella did have a way of getting online, and that is scary. That is scary. And she's still gone. That is just scary. So even though mom destroys one phone, there Ella ends up with another one. So the first time Ella ran away was in September of 2023, just a month after starting high school. She left a note behind. She said she couldn't go back now. She sounded like someone was making her leave. There's no turning away. I've got to go. What happened? Who was making Ella feel like that she had no choice but to do whatever someone was telling her she had to do? Now, I don't know if this is the case, but we've talked about this previously over here before, where certain individuals get a hold of these minors and they convince them to do things for them that minors uh, normally wouldn't do or think of on their own. Remember, we talked about sending inappropriate pictures down to getting them to do things to other individuals in the house, self harm, all these different things. And I can see where she's saying she wished she would have kept that other cell phone for sure. But if she was on Snapchat and the messages were just disappearing, um, So when Ella first ran away in September 2023, she said there's no going back. So what had happened? What had happened? Okay. So let's hold on, I'm gonna back up here a little bit. I lost myself. I had to find myself. Okay, so September 2023, Ella first ran away. So her husband, Philip, left for work every day about 4:30 a.m. And by the time that Elizabeth woke the children for school, Ella was gone. Now, Muncie police responded to the family's call around 7 a.m. on September 20th in response to Ella missing. She was 14 years old at the time. Now, the police case reports details the names of her friends. The fact that she had changed out of her nightgown sometime in the night and that she must have left through the front door between 11:30 p.m. and 4:30 a.m. Now, that's when the parents first found out that Ella was on Snapchat. The friend gave Elizabeth and Philip her screen name, and Elizabeth said that she at that time guessed what the password was. Okay, here we go. This is what is frightening. At that time, the police were able to pinpoint the location. Two grown men from Indianapolis were communicating with her at the same time. Hey, Mr. A. Thank you, Poppy. I appreciate you, Poppy. Yes, I am out of coffee, Poppy. How'd you know? How did you know, girl? I am drinking my last cup right now. Right now I am. Why do you retract your message? What was wrong with your message, Mr. A? Okay. So that that is freaking scary. I'm telling you, that's freaking scary, you guys. That this young girl, two grown men from Indianapolis was talking to her. That is frightening. So one of the men drove from Indy to pick Ella up. Ella told him what street she lived on. The parents also found out during their chats that their daughter was taking and sending pictures of herself. Wow. That's what I was talking about, you guys. Right there. They get these kids to do things and then they make the kids feel ashamed of it. They make them feel ashamed to get these kids to do what they want. Ella engaged in extremely high risk behavior on social media, ran away from her home with people she did not know. Ella was recovered by law enforcement agencies in Indianapolis and subsequently hospitalized at Riley's Children's Health before returning home to the Saylors. Oh my gosh. So um Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate you for sure. Thank you for the $5. Thank you. Thank you. I was just going to ask you to post this. We're thinking alike. Been drawn alike. I covered Ella. I covered Ella when she first went missing. Um, I'm just I seen Michelle was talking about it. I wanted to go in and find out what was new and what I could find out. Thank you. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That helps with the coffee. It really does. Okay. So this is really scary that she had ran away prior. Two grown adult men were talking to her at the same time. Um, and one actually came and picked her up. Now, let me tell you guys something. It was by the grace of God that law enforcement found her that time. By the grace of God. So, yeah, Delaware Circuit Court, too. She was hospitalized before returning home to the Saylors. Ella, at that time, was sent to Simon Scout Child and Adolescent Behavioral Unit at Riley Children's Hospital for 2 weeks. Ella was 14 at the time. The two men had gave her marijuana and alcohol. One man was arrested and later released because she told him she was 18. Now, does Ella look like she's 18? Hey, Chris. Yes, we do appreciate everybody who supports this channel over here. You know, I've said it before. We're nothing fancy. We try to get out the stories about these missing kids as much as we can. Um, you know, I'm not gonna sit and say that I put out things the way that other creators put it out. That's not me. I just be me. That's it. I just be myself. So Ella returned home on October 3rd, 23. Now, at that time, the behavioral health team recommended a safety plan that included locking away all sharp objects, chemicals, medication with increased supervision at home. Now, don't forget, there were four other siblings in that house, right? They are doing great, Chris. Actually, it was the cutest thing I'd ever seen. I got up this morning and I went to open the back door. I was going to get their food ready, and they were on the porch looking at me. They were like, "Lady, we've been waiting on you. We're hungry." Oh my God, it was adorable. And I keep wanting to take their pictures, but when I want to take their pictures, then they're with their mom. And I really don't want to get my eyeballs scratched out for real. Yeah, you've been around for a while, a one way street. I just don't see you very often, but you have been here too, girl, since the beginning. Okay, so it was Ella should still continue to see a therapist, and the parents watch for warning signs, including changes in sleeping, eating, and talking. The parents say Ella was very angry when she came home. She made allegations against Phil and Elizabeth, saying they mentally and physically being neglectful of her. So on October 20th, 2023, DCS filed a petition involving Ella as a child in need of services, right? So at this time, they reviewed the sailors. They found nothing to show that these people were being neglectful of Ella at all. So Ella was 14. Her sister Emma was 8. Now, the boys in the Saylor home included a 12-year-old and an 8-year-old who were adopted within 2 years of Ella and Emma. The youngest boy was scheduled to be adopted within the next 15 days. In June of 2023, Ella's new baby sister had been placed in the home as a foster child, hopefully also to be adopted soon. Now, we're going to get into Ella being in 18 different homes. 18 different homes. That would have to have a mental toll on any child. Any child. Um, well, Chris, usually a silver alert is issued for like elderly individuals who might have a little bit of, you know, what am I thinking? Alzheimer's, things like that, medical conditions. But then I noticed that they were putting out silver alerts on um, individual children, teenagers who have medical conditions. So Ella is a very vulnerable girl, very vulnerable girl. So, okay, now, how would you as a teenager feel to know you were taken away from your mother due to neglect and horrible conditions, and then your adoptive family takes in another baby that your mother that is weird to me. That is I commend the sailors. I do. I do. I really do. So, okay. So on October 19, 2023, DCS removed Ella, the foster baby, and their youngest foster son. Now, to date, DCS has never returned the baby sister, and the family doesn't know where she is. The sailors don't know where she is. Anytime a child goes missing, it's imperative that the immediate efforts be taken to locate that child. State law makes DCS record involving a child's confidential wait, records involving a child. So, of course, with DCF, all the records are closed. They're completely closed. So, um, they can't, law enforcement really can't comment on these records. DCS becomes involved with the family only if there's allegations of abuse or neglect that DCS is investigating or if the child is in need of services. Don't forget, they said they believe Ella was uh, in need of services after she ran away the first time. Oh, what's wrong, May May? Do I need to beat somebody up for you, May May? You tell that man, knock off his moodiness. We are not putting up with that, May May. I will come there, May May. Slap him around a little bit for you. Some men like being slapped around. I'm just saying. Okay, so this is this is horrible. This is flipping horrible, you guys. We already had Ella run away, talking to two grown men, had two different burner phones. When her mother took the phone away, um, she got another one. So these, in my opinion, are grown men that she's contacted on social media somehow, and and these are men who maybe are enticing her by telling her things. Okay, so Ella was removed in October and placed in a different foster home in another city until January 30th. However, Elizabeth Saylor, her adoptive mother, found out that DCS had not counseled, I can't even freaking say it, counseled the new temporary foster parents on Ella's phone habits, nor of her past situations. The new family gave Ella a cell phone and placed her in the public school there. Well, I mean, if they didn't know, and that's horrible because I think that this family should have known that. That is something they should have known. Only because Ella had put herself at risk prior, and that would be the only reason. After 3 months, the new foster parents asked DCS to remove Ella from their home. They said she was always talking to someone or herself in the bathroom, and they found her up in the middle of the night, staring into their new baby's bassinet picking it. So these foster parents are saying that Ella was talking to someone and that, or she was talking to herself, and they found her in the baby's room staring at the baby in the bassinet and kicking the bassinet. What have I told you guys on this channel before? What have I told you about some of these individuals on social media? They actually get these kids to do things to other people in the home, uh, young siblings. Um, they do, you guys. They have them do horrible things. I have a I have where there's a cult, and I can't remember its numbered. I'll have to pull it up and show you guys. I've been meaning to uh, talk with you guys about this cult that these people get these kids to do horrible things, and then they use that against these kids. Purple crowns were being given at one time to those actively illicit. I haven't shut up since I got in here, and I haven't got one. Um, yes, that's a new thing. Um, I'm gonna pull my chat up. Uh, to wear on your heads, May May. Chris, we're giving you a gold one, babe. We're giving you a gold one. I don't know. Right now, maybe it's just the mods. I will check into it further. I promise. Okay. So every nightmare that I've had about these individuals and what they entice these kids to do over social media, this this is heartbreaking to me because it seems like um, this falls in line with what I've been trying to, uh, you know, put in you guys' ear for a while now. Hey, Rachel, good to see you. Good to see you. So they didn't know not to give Ella a phone. They didn't know what had happened prior. So I'm sure when they get a teenager in their home, you want to make them feel comfortable. You want to, tell them, I trust you. Here's a phone. That way you can call us. And it turned out very quickly that that probably shouldn't have transpired. This is heartbreaking for me. So they only had Ella for 3 months. Now, in a January 17th letter to DCS, the temporary foster mother requested that Ella be removed from their home as a disruption in placement. They said, unaware that there's no fear of Ella being a harm to herself, but I'm very fearful of the harm to come to my home, foster license, etc., with the continued lies from Ella. Ella was removed from her home when she was 7. Throughout her young life, she was taking on a responsibility for a younger sibling that she should have never have had to do. Never have had to do. So much so that a neighbor was sharing electricity with her so she could try to properly care for her baby sister. 18 foster homes. 18 foster homes. So they were afraid because Ella telling her lies. I mean, she told DCS that her foster parents, the Saylors, were doing things to her also, right? So then the DCS had to do this fact finding session. 3 months they continued with fact finding sessions. Then the sailors had to go through fact finding in front of the judge and hire an attorney. According to her mental health, I'm sorry. Hold on. Hold on. I need a piece of candy. I need a piece of candy. Okay. So, according to her mental health therapist, since November 2017, in a later dated October 26th and presented to the Delaware Circuit Court fact finding session, the sailors were not shown to have been neglectful, or abusive to Ella at that time. Now, of course, the therapist is like, don't say who I am. I'm not going to tell you who I am. Since working with Ella and her family, I have not had any safety concerns, the therapist wrote. To my knowledge, discipline has always been Ella being sent to her room, having something removed, and or writing sentences. Do you guys remember you used to get in trouble and you'd have to write sentences? You'd get in trouble in class and the teacher would be like, you need to write. I will not disrupt class 100 times. You guys remember that? 4-4, 4-4. Maybe I'm gonna come there and I'm gonna slap him around a little bit. I do not incite violence over here, but sometimes, they just need a good little slapping around a little bit. No, I shouldn't say that. That's considered DV. Okay. How horrible is this? This is so sad. So basically, that's how they disciplined her. They cited there had not been any history of dangerous, unsafe behaviors by Ella's adopted parents, Elizabeth and Phil. Okay. DCS has not proven by a preponderance of evidence that Ella's physical or mental condition is seriously impaired or endangered as a result of the inability, refusal, or neglect of the Saylors to provide Ella with necessary medical care or supervision. The court's coercive intervention is not necessary to ensure that Ella gets the treatment and services necessary for her health and welfare. The baby's sister was never returned. Never returned. Now, Ella goes back to the Sailors temporarily. So, you guys know how much attorneys and stuff cost. They cost a lot of freaking money. So, at that time, the church, the family's church, Glad Tidings in Muncie, presented a check for expenses and Christmas gifts for the children. This is so sad. When the Amazon purchases were delivered to the door, Elizabeth said the children all ran to their bedrooms in fear of being taken away. Oh my goodness. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine those children receiving gifts and that they're frightened when Amazon comes to the door. They're afraid of being taken away. It's also very sad that Ella, at such a young age, was sent to so many homes. So many homes. Now, so DCS returned Ella on Ella's 15th birthday, which was January 30th, after the foster parents said, we want Ella out of our house. She talked to us. The first night was bad. She yelled and cussed at us, Elizabeth said. So the first night that Ella comes back to the Sailors, she's yelling and cussing at them. I don't need a toddler in my life. My daughter's 37. My grandbabies are 18 and 13, but my partner acts like a spoiled brat. Put him in the corner, May May. Put him in the corner. Make him think about what he did or what he said. Put that brat in the corner. Okay. That is so sad. Ella seemed fine the next 3 days, and Elizabeth Saylor and Ella went shopping together. She talked about missing Filipino food. I brought her all the ingredients so I could make her what she liked for dinner, Elizabeth said. But Elizabeth didn't know at the time, but it turned out that Ella had a cell phone she may have hidden in her bra. After, on a Sunday morning, they discovered after Ella was home 3 days, she had run away again. They have no leads. They believe someone picked her up. There were some possible sightings, but they ended up not not coming to any factual information on where Ella might be. Now, since the start of 2024, the Indiana Clearinghouse for Information on Missing Children and Missing Endangered Adults reports 29 requests for missing person, 19 activations, 18 recoveries. 10 juveniles are included on the list. Only Ella Saylor has not been found. And let me tell you guys something. Um, we can look at this as a teenage runaway. We can look at it like that. We can look at it as a teenage runaway that the first time she runs away, she is talking to two grown adult men in Indianapolis. Uh, one even came to pick her up. One said that Ella had said that she was 18 years old. Allegedly, they were giving her alcohol and marijuana. Um, and by the grace of God, she was found that time. They found her. These kids do not know who they are talking with on social media. These individuals can act like they're the greatest people in the world, right? Oh, you come and stay with me, you know, uh, I'll make sure you have a phone. I'll make sure that you have everything that you need. That's not what's happening. Sorry, I got had to get into my dresser for a minute. Thank you, Poppy, for putting my email out there, darling. There is no trust in a relationship. There's no point. Well, the sad thing about it, especially when it comes to, I mean, I agree with that. I think, if you're with your partner, your husband, your boyfriend, it really doesn't matter, what that title is. I do think that you have to have a level of trust. This is in Indiana, Rachel. This is in Indiana, right? Very sad. And I do appreciate Michelle After Dark. I think that's her name. She was talking about it, and I was like, let me see what's going on with Ella because I have mentioned her. I keep mentioning her when we talk about missing and exploited children. I just haven't went into detail and, you know, but I did want people to know she was missing, and I appreciate Michelle for bringing bringing Ella's name out there. It is a big concern. It is a big, big concern. If she met up with a man, uh, a bad man, she could be anywhere, you guys. She could be anywhere for sure. Okay, so Elizabeth and Philip Saylor decided to let their foster license go. That's really sad. And of course, they want Ella to be found. They want her to be found. The investigation to this point has received very few actionable leads and tips that have made it challenging to trace Ella's whereabouts, coupled with her prior knowledge of ways not to be traced. Um, they ask that her information continually be shared and all information provided to the department. So, because Elizabeth and Philip Saylor, they believe DCS did not conduct a proper investigation, did not advise the temporary foster parents, and because they wrongfully removed their children, the couple is talking to Anderson attorney Dorothy Ferguson about how to hold DCS accountable. Now, an Anderson attorney, that's where I live. I live in Anderson, Indiana. I've never hid that from anybody. I will dox myself. Not a big freaking deal. But that's where I'm from, Anderson. And like I said, Muncie's just a thrown stone, thrown stone away, a stone's throw away, I should say, right? Yeah, when you get older, it's like, so they feel like DCS has done nothing to assist the family whatsoever. They believe DCS intervention caused Ella to be missing for so long, and that is called additional caused additional trauma for all of the Sailor children. Elizabeth said she loves Ella. She also feels that Ella's being held against her will, and they don't know if she'll ever come home. They are seeing a therapist individually and as a couple. The children go see a therapist. They're in debt. She's afraid the family will never get out of debt, and they feel that it all could have been avoided. All could have been avoided. Um, okay, let me get to my next. Now, this is a picture. I'm going to show you guys this. This is a picture when Ella told her story. Simon Anderson, um, the lawyer that that the Saylors hired is a lawyer from Anderson. Yeah. Well, the thing is, Rachel, they gotta make it exciting and, you know, that's just the way a lot of 'em. Here's Ella. Ella was 11. Ella was 11 years old, and at 11 had already lived in 18 different homes. 18 different homes. So that is when they took Ella, they took her on a trip back to her first home where, um, she was taken from her biological parents. As I said, Ella said, "Oh, look, cigarettes, broken glass, a diaper." Basically described my childhood life. She said, "Just don't go there or don't go in there, you'll get covered in fleas." Now, this is the thing. When I lived in Kansas, we Junction City, Kansas, we actually were thinking about buying a home there. And so we were just going and looking at different houses. And I will never forget this one house had a basement. And of course, I wasn't going down in that basement. And my, well, he's my ex husband now. But at the time, my husband Tracy had went down in that basement. He had on white socks. When he come up from that basement, you could not see his white socks. The fleas were all over him. He had a lot of fleas on him, a lot. And I was like, hell no, we're not buying this house. Well, I do believe that the sailors wanted what was best for Ella. But this article says, imagine being a 4-year-old sitting on the floor just making a milkshake, and then you have a whole bunch of cops storm into your house. Terrifying, Ella said. So, um, for some reason, law enforcement invaded their home. She said, I think the only difference is there's a broken door. The house didn't have running water, which I told you guys earlier, which meant that at 4 years old, Ella was having to walk to a gas station a couple blocks from her home to have access to running water in a bathroom. She took care of her newborn sister when she was 5, and they didn't even have access to basic needs. At the time, the adoptive father, Phil Saylor, spoke about how proud he was of Ella and her having to be an adult at such a young age. Now, let me ask you guys this. Do you think, and we can't speak for Ella, she's not here, but you have a young girl who has been through her life with the responsibility of a little sister. So if you think about, uh, her having to be and have, she had to have some adult, um, she had to feel like an adult to a certain extent to take on the responsibilities of taking care of a baby sister at that young of age. Um, Maybe that always made her feel like that things that she thought or things that she was doing um, wasn't a problem for her because of her having to act like an adult when she shouldn't have had. Do you guys get what I'm saying? It's like maybe maybe she felt that the decisions she was making were not bad decisions because she obviously was trying to make good decisions when she was taking care of her little sister. Maybe that always made her feel that she was, you know, older in what she was thinking, maybe. I just don't. I wish she would contact somebody and say she was okay. So at 5, she was taking care of her sister. They commended her for having to be an adult at a young age. At first, when the sailors were getting phone calls about Ella and her sister, they kept saying no for a long time. So they agreed to adopt Ella and Emma. The first 2 weeks after an adoption is called the honeymoon phase. Yeah, she had to grow up too soon. I agree. They said with Ella, there wasn't a honeymoon phase, but they kept positive. Wow, that's so sad. They really did. They really did want Ella. How heartbreaking is that? How heartbreaking, you guys. Like I said, you guys can go check out Michelle After Dark. Um, like I said, she was talking about it, and I'm glad she was. I am truly glad she was because one thing I never did was forgot about Ella. I never forgot about Ella, and it's very frightening. But Ella, um, law enforcement, the state Indiana State Police, believe her to be in extreme danger and may require medical assistance. What's up, H? Did I say hey, H? Um, I mean, Ella is 5'4", 230 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes, braces on her teeth. If you have if you've had a potential sighting or any relevant information, please call the Muncie Police Department at 765-747-4838 or call 911 for sure, for sure, for sure. Let me see if I can find that. I don't know if I can find it, but the uh, the cult thing I was talking about for sure. Steven sent me an article. I'm going to talk about it real quick. Thank you, Steven. Steven sent me an article. So she's been missing since 2024. Uh, hold on, it's on my banner. February 3rd. I think February 3rd, 2024. Thank you, Poppy, for dropping that link. Yeah, she's more fancy over there than I am. You guys know that. I am just not professional. Um, hang on, I'm gonna try to find that thingy-mabob, that thingamabobber. Let me see if I can find it. Because they talk about this cult. Um, I'll have to find it. Because it's a number. It's a cult, but they go by a number. Oh, here it is. I got it. I believe this is it. Hold on, I'll drop this link. Let me drop. It's called the Void, from a channel called the Void. Ow, hold on. I will drop the link for this channel. And I have to say trigger warning on this. Trigger warning, big time. Um, hopefully this is the right one. Uh, all right, there we go. Okay. Hold on, Stephen. I'll bring your story back in just a minute. Stephen's not here, but all right, one moment. All right, let me get this where I need it to be. And they are talking about um okay, sorry, I know I was echoing. I had to have been echoing that whole time. Um Two moms got taken by God's misfits. They were sentenced. Oh yeah. Was that the two ladies that they were out way out in, I can't remember where it was, May, but it had something to do with the a grandmother and the great grandkids. Is that the one you're talking about? There was like a whole bunch of people got arrested for that, right? Okay, let me see if I can get this where I need it. I am going to speed it up. I am using this for commentary purposes. Um, okay, so this is from a group on social media. The group is called 764. And I'm just going to talk about the recruitment and exploitation that this group has um, on social media. So hopefully I'm starting it at the right place. Let's see. I'm not going to go. We're just going to go with the recruitment and exploitation. It's kind of going over what these individuals on social media are doing and getting these young kids to do. So hopefully I'm starting it at the right point. But y'all know I am a low budget bitch over here. I am, for sure. And I will go buy coffee. I will. Thank you for the $5 cash app. I appreciate it. Because I am really out of coffee today. I'm trying to savor my last cup. It's cold right now, though. It is flipping cold. It is flipping cold. Okay. Oh, that is them, May May? So only two? Did they only get two? All right, here we go. Let me turn closed captions on. Okay, here we go.
Most of the time, it starts the same way. It usually begins in spaces built around pain, Discord servers centered on self-harm, forums where depression is openly discussed but rarely moderated, group chats where no one's really paying attention. These are the environments the group moves through, watching silently until someone says the right thing. A member reaches out, often appearing calm and supportive. They might pose as another teenager or speak like someone who understands, but it was never about helping in the first place. Most of their activity happens on Discord and Telegram, though other platforms have been used at different points. Instagram, Roblox, Minecraft, even SoundCloud.
Now, see, that's scary because they talk about, I know my granddaughter is big on Roblox, but the thing, I know that I've said before that my daughter, she is very, very in tune on who my granddaughter talks to through Roblox and things like that. And actually, both of my daughters actually play Roblox with my two granddaughters. So they, they make themselves known that we are these girls as parents and we're watching everything that you're saying to them. I know that what was the case that we talked about, that the parents said that they were very much in tune with what the girl was doing on social media, and but she still fell through the cracks. I can't remember off the top of my head what case that was. I'll think of it.
Most of the victims are between the ages of 9 and 17. Many are already struggling with mental health, with identity, or just with being alone. And the goal is always the same. Find someone vulnerable, cut them off, and make them believe they've finally found somewhere they belong.
That's exactly what it is. Now, I can see that happening with Ella. She went through life, 18 foster homes. She went through 18 different homes in a short amount of time. She came from an environment where, like they said, she was the little adult. She's the one who called the shots for her baby sister. How can you, at that age, be put into 18 different homes? That is a lot.
From there, it moves quickly. They shift to private servers, voice calls, and screen share sessions. Victims are told to follow instructions, sometimes framing it as a game, other times as a challenge. Occasionally, that first task crosses a boundary, but once it's done, that's where it starts. They ask for proof, photos or videos, something that can be saved. And once they have it,
You guys can hear this okay, right? I don't have it up on screen, but I'm hoping you guys can hear it.
the tone changes. The messages get sharper. The victim is told that if they don't continue, their secrets will be shared, their family will be contacted, their lives will be ruined.
That is what Mrs. Saylor said. At some point, Ella was sending pictures. She was sending pictures. That's how they get them. A lot of times, they get them to send them inappropriate pictures. They get these kids to do inappropriate things to other family members. When the foster mother was like, when she went to the one foster home, they said that they caught her staring at the baby and kicking the crib. That sounds weird to me, only because at some point in her life, Ella was being an adult to her baby sister. So why would she be doing something like that? Not saying that she was going to do any harm to the child, but that just seems weird, doesn't it? 5 in the end. Yeah, 5. Yeah, that was horrible, May. I'll have to talk about that case. I haven't talked about it in a long time.
It becomes a trap, and the only way out, they're told, is to keep going. At this point, the requests turn into demands. Victims are made to film themselves cutting into their own skin.
Trigger
They're
warning.
told to carve usernames or group names into their bodies. These are called cut signs, a kind of brand that shows who they belong to. Others are told to hurt animals, to involve siblings, to create material that escalates with every video. And
that is horrifying. And I have to say, trigger warning, they do get into a little bit of detail here. And I mean, can you imagine the pull that these individual groups have on these children, where they feel that if they do not do what these people tell them to do, that they are going to end up causing them harm. This is online. This is online.
It's all recorded. Some members will even live stream the abuse. Others host what they call watch parties, where victims are tormented in front of an audience. The footage is saved, archived, and traded. And the more violent it is, the more status the abuser.
Can you believe that? So this is content for these individuals. They keep everything that they're talking these kids into doing, they're keeping it as evidence. They trade it. They have watch parties. It's horrible.
Earns, almost like a badge of honor. The victims are left traumatized. Some never come forward. Others try, but by then it's too late. The group already has their information, their faces, their voices, even their school names. And even when the servers get shut down, the files don't disappear. They're stored, reshared, and sometimes reused to lure in someone else.
So they even get of course, we know that they get them to send inappropriate pictures, but they also, they get them to do different things. Having inappropriate relations, doing Hold on. Hold on. It is sick. Very sick. Oh, I do want to say, if anybody, if this content triggers anybody, please feel free to come back another time. I never want anybody to feel uncomfortable with anything that I'm going over. And we are good if you want to come back at a different time. This is all very triggering information.
For some, the damage ends there, but others stay, pulled deeper into the group, until they're no longer just victims. Investigators say many of the most active members started as victims themselves, brought in young, manipulated and broken down, and then built back up again as part of the system. They stay because they're scared, or because it's the only place where they feel accepted. But over time, they become recruiters, becoming the thing they once feared. And that's what makes this group so hard to stop.
So basically, these kids start out being groomed by these groups. And a lot of these children, they become what they've made them. They become what these people have made them. Self-harmers. These are individuals that these people look for. And I'm not saying that, Ella is with anybody from a cult group, whatever you want to call them like that. But this is always a possibility. It started with the inappropriate pictures. They get the inappropriate pictures. They get them to do things. They keep these videos like they're trophies. Oh, wait, look what I got this child to do. Now, you don't do what I say. We're going to release all these videos we have of you. We're going to release everything that we have you doing. And any individual that can talk a child into self-harming themselves or putting a brand on themselves, these people are massive manipulators. Yeah, that is why there's so many. These kids get in there, they feel accepted. They feel accepted. Wow, you're accepting me. You care about me. They don't care.
It regenerates.
Oh, shit.
Since
they don't care about any of these kids.
2021, criminal cases have been opened in the US, UK, Germany, Romania, and Brazil. Some of the worst content has been linked back to a core set of users. One of them, known online as Gore Butcher, ran an invite-only channel tied directly to Order of Nine Angles. He's believed to be a Florida man named Angel Almeida, a dropout with a long arrest record and
a... I was going to show you his picture, but he's holding a pew-pew. Angel Almeida.
History of violence. He's not the only one. Some members write instructions, literal guides on how to groom and exploit, telling others what kind of girls to target, what to...
Oh my gosh. I am going to show you this. Hold on. This is the prologue. It's called the SE Extortion Handbook. It's a comprehensive guide that provides deep insight into the tactics and strategies that can be used to blackmail and exploit victims, primarily through the use of compromising photos or videos. It delves into the aspects of coercion, highlights the various methods to maintain control, instill fear, and coerce the victims into complying with the perpetrator's demands. Additionally, it offers step-by-step instructions for everything there is to know about carrying out a successful SE extortion scheme, from identifying potential targets to executing the blackmail process to create convincing fake identities, maintaining an anonymity online. I didn't say that right. Monetizing and safely storing SE extortion content, ensuring that the perpetrator remains untraceable. What do you mean, flies? All right, send it to me. Is it? Yeah, send it to me.
Say when to push and when to escalate. These documents are shared inside the group, alongside folders of abuse, cut sign compilations, and violent memes. Platforms say they're working on it. Discord claims they shut down 130 groups and banned over 34,000 users tied to the network in a single year.
Wow, that's a lot.
Roblox says it monitors 764 themed skins and removes references when flagged. Instagram and Telegram both say the same. But even now, hundreds of 764 related accounts are still active.
Wow.
The group simply moves faster. Some have spent years being manipulated. Others were pulled in and discarded almost immediately. But all of them were changed by it. And the stories that have surfaced since, both the ones that were recovered or told by the people left behind, show just how far this really goes.
How sad. Oh, yeah. Well, that's been going on for quite a while, that, they are taking these young kids, and especially in high school, there are a lot of cases where these and I'll just say girls, because I know there's guys too, and they will get different, they will take videos or something of these girls, or one guy in high school might be with this girl. Hey, Debbie. Get with these girls, and they will basically send out inappropriate pictures of these girls or something like that. And a lot of time, these girls go into a deep depression, and there's been more than one case where, individuals have unalived themselves over the stuff. What's up, Zena?
The people behind these groups aren't all the same. But what connects them isn't where they started. It's what they choose to do once they get inside. Some of them used threats. Others forced their victims to hurt themselves. But in certain groups, the abuse focuses on animals. And in one of...
Oh, Lord. Trigger warning. I don't know if I should let them tell this story or not. All right, let's see.
the most widely shared cases, it was a girl known online as Holy Girl 222. She had been active in several servers linked to Kaskar, one of the groups that branched off from 764. Members knew her name, they knew her voice, and eventually, they knew what she was willing to do. In one photo, she's holding a handwritten fan sign with the name Court 764. In her other hand is the body of her cat.
Oh, no, 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 no. All right, sorry, I don't want to hear that. I really don't. They got one guy to punch his teacher. For sure. Wow. Now, Holy Girl was doxxed and swatted. So that's for sure.
People in the group said she wanted it, that she did it for attention. But Discord logs show that it wasn't her choice. She had been forced. Another case tied to the network involved a user known as Harm. His real name was Abdallah Ali. He was based in Egypt and had been active across multiple servers connected to 764. He regularly posted images of animal abuse, sometimes involving animals he harmed.
Okay. I don't want to, yeah. I can't do it even with adults. I mean, also, you have to remember that some of these individuals are on substances also. Yeah. I don't know what that one is. One man, yeah, unaliving other people. Some of these people are like at the top of their game. One man unalived 8 people. Well, yeah, but I mean, I will talk about the AI stuff, but this is what they're not using AI here. They're not using AI here. These are actual children and probably even some adults who are doing these. They are doing the deed. And what they're doing, these people are keeping it. They're keeping everything that they're doing in a file. No, Flies mentioned AI. Flies mentioned AI. I just hadn't got to the AI part yet. I haven't pulled up what she sent me yet. Mark Rubio. No, this is, and the only reason we got here to even talking about this cult is because of Ella Saylor. You guys, you remember me coming out when she went missing, and she's been gone over a year now, and the family has came out and said that yes, she absolutely had ran away previously. 2 men from Indianapolis were talking with her. One even came and got her. One said she told him that she was 18, so they didn't do nothing to that guy. But yes, an adult man actually came and picked her up. She told him where she lived. She told him everything. Now, her leaving a note one time when she ran away that said there's no going back now. That is why this kind of made me take a pause there. What if Ella got hooked up into something like this? I'm not saying she did, but absolutely. So they actually get these people to do these things.
He would eventually be caught and charged. Solna District Court ruled that the boy was guilty of attempted murder after a hearing, but since he was under 15 years old, he couldn't be convicted of the crime.
Under 15 years old, so they couldn't convict him of the crime. after he tried to unalive someone.
Simply had to pay damages of over 250,000 kroner, or just over $26,000, to the man. Another name that kept coming up was Vincent Collison. He called himself Yuki. He was 18 and a member of Kaskar. Yuki was one of the most active extortionists linked to the network. He moved across platforms like Discord, Instagram, and Roblox, and targeted minors through private messages and server invites. Once contact was made, he pushed for more. Yuki and the people around him are believed to be responsible for at least 2 suicides.
Wow,
One of his victims
trigger
was
warning.
pregnant. He threw a brick through her window, and the sudden shock caused her to go into cardiac arrest, killing both her and her baby.
Wait. Wow, so this is someone who was causing harm online and in their real life. That is crazy. I'm getting right. I'm almost done with this.
Yuki also ran a service called Brick Squad, a pay-to-order operation where people could pay him to target someone in real life. The options included Molotovs, drive-bys, and home invasions.
That's crazy. That is crazy. That doesn't surprise me, though. I'm sure there's a lot of people who, put it out that you pay me and I'll do this, you pay me and I'll do that. That's scary right there.
His team would show up, film the damage, and send it back to the person who paid. While some found violence in performance, others found it in silence. Her username was FMLK. She was 15, and as a result, her real identity is unknown. She was active in several 764 servers, fluent in English, and already trusted enough to move between chats that most people never saw. And that's how she found him. His name was Samuel Hervey. He was 25 and grew up in International Falls, Minnesota. He studied biochemistry and began transitioning after turning 18. But after the pandemic hit, everything fell apart. He dropped out of university, his marriage ended, and he stopped taking his medication. In late 2020, he was committed to a psychiatric hospital and diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder. A few months after being released, he left the country. He ended up in Kyrgyzstan, moving between hostels in Bishkek. In early November, he created a Discord server. He called it an Hero Tempest, an infamous online term used to reference taking one's own life. The messages made his plans clear. He talked about what he was going to do and how it would happen. Most users ignored him, and a few tried to talk him down. But FMLK didn't. She reached out and moved the conversation into private calls. She asked for updates and told him people would be watching, that this was his chance to be remembered.
Wow. See, that's crazy too. Thank you, Rachel, for the trigger warning. That is crazy. That is crazy. That just gives you an idea of how, that's crazy. And like I said, not to say that that had anything to do with Ella, but the possibilities there. I mean, she was so young. She was so young. Like I said, I wish that she would allow, I don't know why I just put my link up there. There's my link though. I was getting ready to share a screen. Here we go. And she's so beautiful. So beautiful. But prior, she had just went with somebody that obviously she met online. And that's what got me, because Elizabeth Saylor was like, they didn't have a cell phone. Someone was making sure that Ella had a cell phone. Oh, yeah, the one lady that I was just talking about. Yeah, you would think that that could be considered. You go online, seriously, you go online on social media and talk about feeling like you're going to end your life, there's going to be people who are telling you to harm yourself for real. They're not saying things like, oh, wait, hey, you know, don't do that, which us as normal people, we would be like, why the fuck are you talking like that? Right? I was just giving you an example of, you know, the kind of horrific things that are happening on social media. I put the link to that in there if anybody wants to look at it. All right, let's show. I'm going to show you what Fly sent me, and then I've got to go over what Steven sent me to. I don't want to forget that. Not enough money that can be sent for this to stop. Unaliving of Barron County teen investigators as financial SE extortion. Wow. Wow, so sad. A warning to readers, this story contains discussions of unaliving and sensitive sexual subject matter. In southern Kentucky, the Barron County community is grieving the unthinkable. Local teenager Eli Heacock passed away from a self-inflicted wound with a weapon, a financial extortion scheme. Yeah, I've heard of these before. Yeah, teenagers are. I've heard of the SE extortion, but now I guess they're trying to gain finances off of it. He was only 16 years old. He loved to laugh, play sports, hang out with his best friend Harrison Eli, a fellow classmate from high school. Best memories was basketball games. He was a big supporter of his school. Didn't matter if we were winning or losing, he was still cheering. He attended a proclamation signing where Judge Executive Jamie Booley Bird declared March 19th as Unaliving Prevention Awareness Day in Barron County. He wore a t-shirt featuring a photo collage of himself and Eli with the words, "Fly high, my brother and best friend." Eli was known as a prankster. He unalived himself on February 28th. He was just getting close enough to get his driver's license. She surprised him that day by picking him up from school in a new Jeep, his first vehicle. He was very happy, very happy. They went to get haircuts, picked some flowers for his favorite teacher before going home. Mother and son made plans to go for coffee the next morning, but at 11:30 p.m. on Thursday night, Eli's twin sister found him on the floor of the laundry room. They said Eli was not a depressed kid. He wasn't angry or upset. No breakup with a girlfriend. He was looking forward to his life. Investigators made a shocking revelation. During a search of Eli's phone, AI-generated images used to extort the young men were discovered. The offender created the images, some sexual explicit, and sent them to Eli, then threatened to release pictures of Eli unless he gave him $3,000. He texted his friend to see if he could borrow the money. His friend only had $8. Last text to his friend, I love you so much. Eli had sent the perpetrator $50, and they said it's not enough. Yeah, unfortunately, I think even if Eli would have paid him the $3,000, he wouldn't have stopped. For sure. So, did they find out who did it? So, we don't know if they have found who did it or not. And this was from March 23rd, 2025. From March 23rd, 2025. Yeah, that's sad. That is so sad. For real, for real. I don't get it. Well, yes, but someone would have had to have, someone would have had to made it using AI. Yeah, I would think that somehow they would be able to find out who it was. For sure. That's sad. That is sad. But yes, they're getting these kids to do all kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff. I mean, for some of these kids to be branding themselves for other people to feel like they belong, getting them to do things that, it's sad. But, like I said, don't it you people, a lot of people do not want to come on social media and talk about if they're having a bad day or not, because sometimes people make it their mission to make sure that you continue having a bad day, or even a week, or a month. Hell, some of them a year. Misery loves a company. So, but they keep all the files. Like they said, that's pretty sick when you have a people hanging out to have a watch party. So you've got all these people at this watch party, and you have one victim. So not only is one person trying to convince you to do things, you got a whole group of people at the same time. Yeah, you would think if the text was there, the possibility of them tracing them back, I don't know. Because they said it was a text, right? Didn't they say a text? But, it's just scary. And to think Ella's been gone this whole time, if she is okay, I would hope that she would let somebody know that she's okay. But when she ran previously and was with the dudes from Indianapolis, they were giving her weed and alcohol. So we don't know who she's with and what they're possibly giving her now. If she so willingly went with these grown men and was doing substances, you just don't know. You just don't know. And I hate to say that because that's so negative, you know. That is just really negative for me to say. Hang on, I'm going to get some air. I got to get some air. Because if you look at it, remember Ella's, I'm going to call her mom. Elizabeth, Ella's mom, talked about when they got her back. Remember, she got thrown out of a foster home. They told them, come and get her. Elizabeth didn't know that those parents, the foster parents, were not aware that there was an issue with Ella having a cell phone. So she goes to them and they take in this teenager, you know, getting ready to go to high school or whatever, and they offer her a cell phone. When Ella went back to the Saylor's house, remember that her mom said that Ella went off, that she was cussing them and everything. That is what they said. She was going off on them. And they took her back. They took her back. I believe that there were two people that really cared about her. And being a teenager, you know when some people have your best interests at heart, but you don't look at it like them people got your best interest at heart. You look like that they're just being horrible people, didn't let her have a cell phone. And see, that's a thing too. She was used to having that cell phone. She obviously was used to communicating with individuals that she shouldn't have been communicating with. I mean, I can't, I'm not the person who's going to sit here and say that she's being trafficked because I don't know that. I don't know that. I just don't feel like a grown adult man has the best interest of a child at heart. She's 16 now. I think Ella's 16 now. But we're talking about a child that was in 20 different homes. starting at a very young age. They said she had been through 18, but I don't know if they were adding the last foster home that she was in after she ran away, I think the first time or something. But it does seem like the Saylors really loved Ella. You have such a hard upbringing, and then you have people trying to, you know, I'm sure everything they did, they had her best interest at heart. I don't know if I would let my kid have a cell phone if she was talking to grown adult men, giving them the address and telling them how to come pick her up. I don't think my kid would have a cell phone. But they did not. They did not let the foster parents know that. DCS did not let the foster parents know. Look, she's ran away before, and this is what happened. So they could stay at least vigilant, right? So I can see where the Saylors are not happy with the Department of Children's Services, for sure. And if she was taking medication for her anxiety and stuff, that's probably why. I don't know this as a fact, but I would say that was probably one of the reasons she was given alcohol and marijuana. Keep her chilled out, right? So sad. So sad. So sad. All right. I got to tell you guys Steven's story. He sent it to me. So, there was a good Samaritan that saved a newborn baby after hearing the baby crying from the dumpster. Yay. We needed a good story after today, Stephen. Thank you. Community member. Officials in Nevada are calling a local community member a hero after they saved a baby boy from the dumpster. The concerned citizen called 911 after hearing the sound of a baby. Investigators later arrested a 28-year-old woman on charges of attempted redrum and child abuse, neglect, or endangerment. Now, let me tell you something, 28-year-old woman. If you would have took that child to a fire department, a hospital, or a police station, you could have left that child there and walked away. You guys know that, right? A lot of states, or a church. Those are safe places that a child can be left and the mother does not get in trouble. But no, you want to put that baby boy in a dumpster. So you get what you get. So the community member is being called a hero. We're going to call you a hero too. They called 911 after hearing the sound of the baby crying. When the individual looked inside the dumpster, they found the newborn. Without hesitation, they climbed in and safely retrieved the child. Deputies arrived at the scene around 1 p.m. local time, and emergency medical personnel from the Truckee Meadows Fire Department district took the baby to the hospital. Sheriff's office reported that the baby is healthy and doing well. This child is alive today because of the swift and selfless actions of a community member who didn't hesitate to help. The community is very grateful. Heck yeah. They want to remind the community there are safe and legal options for anyone in crisis. No baby should ever be left in danger. At all. Okay. They had arrested 28-year-old Taylor Dickens on charges of attempted red rum and child abuse, neglect, or endangerment on July 7th. The judge set a $1 million cash-only bond. Yep, $1 million cash only. The baby was born between 2 and 3 a.m. on July 5th. They obtained security camera footage, showed a woman placing a garbage bag in the dumpster at 3:33 a.m. 3:33 a.m. She allegedly gave birth in a nearby bathroom and reacted with panic and shock, is what she told them, I guess. She didn't even know the gender, whether the child was breathing or moving. According to her, the infant was wrapped completely in the towel and placed in the garbage bag. In her panic, she thought that was her best option. She had hoped someone would find the baby. That's not true. You could have took the baby where it would have been cared for. Oh, she also said she has no desire to have any more children. Is she married? Stating her family was financially living paycheck to paycheck at that point. They could not support an additional child. So she has a family? She has a family? What the heck is that? Oh, is it? I don't know if I can get that over to my email or not. Hold on, I'll try to get it to my email. Why, thank you, Dabby Ho. All right, let me see if that came to my email. Okay, we are going to show a picture of the baby, so nobody get a hard on over it. Okay, that was fucking weird. I shouldn't have said that. I'm going to show a baby, and it's for a good cause. So I don't need to hear, oh, remain calm, show the kid. I don't need to hear that shit. For real. Okay, hold on, Debbie Ho. Debbie Ho. This is what happens when we work as a team. Debbie's a team player. All right, let me see if I got him. Yeah, because Steven sent me this, so I hadn't even really got to look into it. Okay, she said no more children living paycheck to paycheck. While testifying, Hoops Adams also brought up another incident from 2023 in which Dickinson said she had a miscarriage and placed the fetus in a garbage can. She was never charged with that crime. What? But they're still investigating. Everyone is very happy. Now, Nevada has the safe haven law. A parent may legally surrender an infant up to 30 days old with no questions asked at any hospital, fire station, or law enforcement location. Now, I think some places do have churches also. If the child is surrendered unharmed, uninjured, no signs of abuse or neglect, there are no charges or repercussions for that parent. What if the baby's born addicted? What if the baby's born addicted? I would like to know that. I truly would. Okay. No, she obviously had a family at home. Hang on, I'm going to show you guys. Debbie sent me pictures of them. Okay, this is the baby. There's the baby. And hold on, I'll pull the mother up. And this is the mother. This is the mother. And yes, I'm showing this baby's picture. This is the little guy right here. Wow, how cute. No, not back in the day it wasn't a law. That's very true, Debbie. But allegedly she was shocked. She had the baby in a bathroom. She was shocked. But then she says that the family was living paycheck to paycheck and they could not at this time afford another baby. So how shocked and surprised was she when she went into labor in that bathroom? And then prior says that she miscarried, and trigger warning, she placed that baby in the trash. Adorable. Good things do happen sometimes, you guys. For sure. For sure. Gosh, we kind of talked about a lot today, didn't we? We talked about a lot today, y'all. But please remember Ella. Please remember Ella. And thank you, Michelle, for covering Ella. You guys, whoever can go check out Michelle, check out what she talked about with Ella. If you want. I mean, that's totally up to you. Oh, I think she knew she was pregnant too. I don't think she was saying she didn't know she was pregnant. That's what I'm saying. She had to have known. How can you be by, you know, H? H comes in and he says hi, and then he leaves and comes back and says bye. H. Davis, where you been? You been taking a nap? Have you been taking a nap, sir? Did you have today off work? H must have been off today, for sure. I honestly don't know. I'm about, hang on, I'll give you the exact amount of time. Uh, Not far. Not far at all. About 34 minutes, depending on which road you take to get there. Anywhere from 30 minutes to 35. Yep, God did have his hand on that baby. Oh, you've been here since 4? So you must have had today off, right? Did you have a nice day off? Thank you for sharing your day off with us, H. For real. Glad you came and hung out with us. For sure, for sure. Yeah, about 30 minutes, Debbie. About 30 minutes. Well, the way that I go is 35 minutes because I like taking the country way. I like taking the back roads. I do. Back roads are the way I go. Well, it depends. I mean, going to Indianapolis, of course, I'm going to take the interstate. It's quicker. It's 2 hours from H. Davis. Says H. Davis. But, I mean, the thing about it is, you guys, it's just heartbreaking to... I can't imagine what the Saylors are going through. Well, they thought that she was in the area at first, Debbie. They believed that she could have been in the area. Then they had mentioned, I'm trying to remember back when I first covered it, they had mentioned something about she knew other people who lived in different counties or something here in Indiana. I can't remember the exact counties that they said off the top of my head. But that was right after she went missing. So I don't know if they're thinking that way still. After a year, she could be anywhere. That's like Sebastian too. After a year, could be anywhere. Summer, over 4 years, could be anywhere. Michael Vaughn, I just think that they need to tell Brandy where her fucking son is. That's what I think about that. Coming on YouTube, playing freaking games. For sure. People dropping Stacey Wonder's Cash App and shit. It's like, why the fuck are you giving this guy money? He's saying that he's seen Michael in a horrible position, I'll say. There wasn't, and probably is not, enough money in the world where that guy is going to say where Michael is. Four different people. Four different people. I thought maybe after Stacy Wondra being shown talking to law enforcement, I kind of thought maybe that would rattle up some people and get somebody to come out and say something, but I guess not. Well, I mean, I guess it would have been worth that $100 an hour if he would have said something that made a difference. He didn't say shit. He didn't say anything. That's like, I remember when Reverend Donna talked to him. It was kind of funny because at some point she was like, yeah, we're at an hour, or we're almost at an hour. And I'm like, yeah, you keep him on there an hour. That's $100. That's $100. It's all heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking. And you think back on, them sharing with us how her life went being so young, and you can kind of look at her behavior and put some of that together. $18 freaking homes is a lot, you guys. I think 2's a lot. But this girl went through 18. 18. It sounds like, at least with the Saylors, they were in it for the long haul. They were in it for the long haul. But, I guess people got excited when Stacy Wondra was, I think I listened to one interview, and I take that back. I didn't even listen to the whole thing when Justin was talking to him. I just think when money becomes involved, it changes everything. It changes everything. That's the way I feel anyhow. Yeah, they adopted her. They adopted her. But she had ran away. And after all of that happened, they ended up taking her back, though. I think, yeah, that's kind of at the beginning of the live, Debbie. You came in late, girl. You came in late. Craziness. All right, I have 9 minutes. 9 minutes, people. But no, you guys, please remember that Ella is still missing. I'm sure. I wonder if they've contacted dentist. That's interesting, isn't it? Because she's got braces. She's got braces on. I wonder if they contacted the dentist offices. I'm sure they thought of that. Hey, White Widow baby. I'm sure that they thought of that. I'm not the first one to think about it, I'm sure. Especially since she's got braces. Wow. But I guess you don't want to walk into a dentist office and see missing children's posters up. I don't know. I think they should. I mean, Walmart used to have that wall. They don't have that wall anymore. There was a lot of missing people posters on Walmart, on the Walmart wall, for sure. Yeah, she is. Yeah, she went missing in 2024. I've talked about her a couple times. I just never went in depth like I did today on her story. So you got them there? You do? Your Walmart does? I don't think mine does anymore. I do not believe mine does anymore. For sure. Yes, Ella ran away the first time in September of 2023, just a month after starting high school. She left behind a note. She said she couldn't go back now. She sounded like someone was making her leave. There's no turning away. I've got to go, it said. And just like this time, the dad would get up at 4:30 in the morning to go to work, and she left sometime between 11 p.m. and when he went to work at 4:30 a.m. For sure. So, and what happened there, which brought us into discussing social media, because they contacted her friend, I think. Hang on. Okay, so the police case report detailed the names of her friends. The fact that she had changed out of her nightgown sometime in the night, and that she must have left between, like I said, 11:30 and 4:30 a.m. The parents found out through a friend that their daughter had a Snapchat account. That's when they found out she had the Snapchat account. The friend gave them her screen name, and Mrs. Saylor figured out the password. Police were able to pinpoint the location. Two grown men from Indianapolis were communicating with her at the same time. Two Indianapolis men were talking to her at the same time. One man drove from Indianapolis to pick her up. Ella told them exactly where she lived and where to pick her up. That's when they found out that she had been taking and sending inappropriate pictures of herself to two grown men that they know of. Yeah, Snapchat, yeah. Snapchat deletes a lot of that stuff. I've never messed with Snapchat. Not at all. Well, you could go on there and have a bitch session and it would just delete itself, right? Yes, Rachel, it does. It absolutely does. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I hope she okay, wait a minute here. Um Ella engaged in extremely high risk behavior on social media. She ran away from her home with people she did not know. She was recovered the first time by law enforcement agencies in Indianapolis. Yes, don't forget that they did find her the first time. That's when she was with the dude and he was giving her alcohol and marijuana. Yeah, I think she was groomed also. I think she was groomed also. And those are the kids that you know, these monsters are successful at taking these young girls and grooming them, completely grooming them. They know if a child is, you know, Ella is said to have had really bad anxiety. I believe they said she should have been on medication. The medication they can get by with, but by giving her something else. But I would think that she would have to get those braces off, right? How sad. How sad. See, after she ran away that time, uh, and law enforcement got her, they did not send her home with the Saylors. Instead, they put her in a hospital. They put her in Riley Children's Hospital, basically on a psych ward. And she was there for a couple weeks. She was 14. She was 14 when that happened. They actually had her on the child and adolescent behavioral health unit at Riley Children's Hospital. The two men, both men gave her weed and alcohol. She told law enforcement that. One man was arrested and later released because she told them she was 18. Yeah. Well, yeah, if anybody missed anything, please go back and, you know, check it out. I kind of went down the line and kind of tried to tell Ella's story, I guess. Yeah, I don't do Snapchat. Are you kidding? I have to make myself go on Facebook. I did get on Facebook earlier though. Oh, you got Instagram too? Well, a lot of people have Facebook. I mean, I did. Yeah, I'm just not a Facebooker. Not a Facebooker. For real, for real. All right, I'm getting my butt off here. So please, you guys, remember Ella Saylor. Give her some prayers. Rachel, we're praying for you. Flies, we're praying for you. Praying for every missing child out there and just anybody who needs it, for sure. Yeah. No, it's cool, White Widow baby. I don't I I kept mentioning Ella, but I covered it right when she went missing, so the family hadn't really spoke out or anything by then. So I'm glad I went back. I give Michelle credit for that because I didn't watch it. I mean, I hate to say that, but her title and stuff, I was like, what's going on with Ella? Because I hadn't seen anybody cover Ella. I hadn't seen anybody but me cover Ella. I don't think anybody else did. But I don't know, okay? Because I really didn't look. I just do my own thing over here, for sure. So, yeah, we will keep updated. Like I said, I hope that I just wish she would get a hold of somebody and say that she was okay. That would make a big difference. It really would. But if she was, I mean, what worries me is because she's, it just seems like she was in a very vulnerable um, situation. She was just very vulnerable. And then they took her out of school. They homeschooled her for a long time. And she wanted to go back to school. And then she goes back to school and this happens. It's just weird. It's all just, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, maybe I'll print a couple posters out and take it to the freaking dentist offices here. For sure. Um, yeah, you do. I mean, yeah, it is harsh. It is harsh. I know I get to a point sometimes I don't even try to make up. I'm like, this is what happened, calling it as it says it, and I do not watch my mouth. For sure. It's horrible. All right, adore everybody getting my butt off here. I'm a half an hour over. For real. Yep, call it as it is. Don't sugarcoat it. All right, adore everybody. Thank you guys for coming in. For sure. Please remember Ella in your prayers and everybody else who needs prayers. Prayer goes out to them. And I will catch you guys later. Stephen, thanks. Flies, thanks for sending me that. Debbie, thanks for the pictures. Team effort today. I love it. Team effort. Poppy, she goes and picks up anybody who can't get in here. You know, she's our number one Mustang driver, I'll say. And thanks everybody who come in that I hadn't seen for a while. Mr. A, always notice when you come in. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Peace out. Peace out. Go do you. I don't know. Raise a little hell tonight. Why not? You guys are good all the time. If you need to raise a little hell, you go right ahead and do it. I'm just saying. All right. Peace out. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.